One major factor in League of Legends is rank, and honestly, it's a big one. It's one of those things where your friend who's Silver 4 may tell you that X champion is broken, while Y champion sucks, and you, as a Diamond 2 superstar, may think the complete opposite. This makes for an interesting video topic today. Why? Why is it like that? Is it because certain champions perform differently in certain ELOs? Well, yeah, actually, quite precisely in fact. I took a deep dive into bronze and iron stats and gameplay, and noticed a couple of trends and conclusions based on which champions perform well, and which champions don't perform well. Today, let's take a look. I know that you guys who are in bronze and silver really struggle sometimes. Honestly, it is so annoying to be stuck in your ELO for so long. But guess what? I got you. Something a lot of you guys are seriously underestimating is the importance of lane priority. And if asked, could you perfectly explain what it is to a friend? Probably not. Today's video is powered by ProGuides because many of you don't know how easy it is to follow their guides. One thing everyone in lower ELO struggles with is lane priority, and if you sign up today completely for free, you can check out the lane priority course. All you have to do is create your account using the link in the description down below, go to League of Legends, and the lane priority course. It's super easy and simple to follow, and honestly, even as a higher level player, this helped me out, so use the link in the description down below and check it out. Typically, in lower ELOs, you have a very clear theme of which champions are good. That category is the simple champion category. They perform well because they are easy enough to execute on what they need to do in order to win the game. Remember that just because a champion can kill you easily does not mean that they can win easily. This would help explain why Rengar is one of the best champions for high elo climbing and smurfing, but has a god-awful win rate in lower elo. Talon can be a very similar example, where Talon does have a pretty easy kill combo and is easy to get first blood with due to his very strong level 2 and level 3 all-in, but may not necessarily be able to win the game because they're not typically using his parkour as well as his map movement correctly to win every single game. Tanky champions are usually good because they are, by nature, much less punishing than squishy champions. Even when you're out of position on Garen, you leave the fight, heal up with Warmogs in your passive, and then you're good to go. You will never be punished for being out of position on Garen the same way you would have been on Irelia. The top 15 champions in bronze with the highest win rates include things like Amumu, Rammus, Yorick, Malzahar, Volibear, Lux, Sona, Garen, Brand, Anivia, and Master Yi. This list is remarkably similar to champions a high elo player even in 2015 or 2016 would recommend for those attempting to climb out of low elo. They still remain true to this day. This is due to the typical notion and suggestion to play mechanically easy champions in order to have to pay attention to the macro of the game and destroy the nexus rather than on your own micro mechanics. These champions don't require you to have the same level of care with your cooldowns, combos, or other forms of these micro mechanics. So, taking what we said, let's completely throw all of that out of the window and talk about Yasuo. For Yasuo, his win rate remains very high in bronze, despite being a hard champion that players don't know how to play perfectly. This is due to games usually in this elo going very long, having an average of 31 minutes in length. Because these games go on so long, even a feeding 0-12 Yasuo will eventually hit his IE and Shiv power spike and simply be able to auto-attack the other carries down. Yasuo has a learning curve that is similar to average at first, but very hard to master. Think about it like this: your very first 10 or 15 games on Aurelion Sol will be absolutely horrendous. You will literally run down mid. However, A-Sol scales quite well with games invested, and by 50 games, it'll feel like a walk in the park, and not too much more to master. It'll actually feel nice, and not really that hard to play. Yasuo, on the other hand, surprisingly does well for your first couple of games, at least better than you might expect. His initial skill floor isn't too hard, but his skill ceiling, meaning how hard he is to play perfectly, is very high. It's not required to be a perfect Yasuo player, it's not required to pull off a Keyblade every game, but if you're able to, you'll be much better off. Easy champions like Sona do consistently well with almost a 54% win rate consistently. Although Sona's win rate remains extremely high even in every single tier bracket right now, one-tricking champions in bronze is even easier because champion choices and compositions are likely to matter less because of a player's inability to punish late game comps, early game comps, full AD comps, such like that. Anivia is an interesting champion in bronze that ranks a remarkable 13th highest win rate with a 53% win rate in the tier. This continues to show a trend that champions with simple and less punishing kits that are full of crowd control always have a use in a bronze team composition. Interestingly, some of the best champions in the game right now that are pick or ban that run all over the game in high elo are pretty absent here, such as Hecarim, Rek'Sai, Aatrox, and Nunu and Willump. For top lane specifically, I'd like to look at which champions perform well here, because a good portion of the time it's based around how annoying or how frustrating the champion feels to play against. For lower MMR players, I totally get and understand how awful it must feel to play against Yorick and his ghouls. If you ever get trapped inside his W, I'm sure it feels like most of the time the champion has literally no counterplay at all if you're not a good top laner. This is most likely why Yorick sits at the single highest win rate for top lane. His maiden is also quite weird and is probably pissing off every bronze top laner in town. For Volibear, he's a classic cheese pick top lane, and has been doing well for several patches in low elo. His passive is super annoying to play against, and he must be smashing every single game in this elo in lane. His early game is strong, he's really annoying to play around, and if you don't build executioners or taking knight, it's basically a free lane for him. Teemo is a staple pick in iron and bronze, and for a good reason. His laning phase feels unbeatable at times, sometimes even in diamond games, but typically junglers in your team won't be able to play around him in the same way, and you know nobody is buying any control wards or any sweepers for those shrooms. Most of the champions in the jungle that are good are more supportive, tanky, and easy gankers. This is because the easier your champion is to gank with, the more successful they will be doing it. If you're contingent on hitting a miracle Lee Sin Q in bronze to insec and kick flash, oh boy. Another thing is how easy it is for your champion to clear the jungle. Honestly, it's so hard to clear the jungle and be healthy on Nidalee compared to Rammus. Look how easy this jungle clear is and how hard it is to play Rammus.
I'm like, even though I only have a mat on the floor, I think he's in the bed. Oh, Faker maybe in trouble here. Deathmark tries to clean it up for Ryu. Oh, look at the cleanse, look at the moves! Faker, what was that?
Faker with a huge play, the QSS.
I can't believe I just saw
he
that.
actually won that duel.
I can't believe that
SK
happened.
Telecom
I'm
just
lose my mind.
However, the grand meme of Master Yi stomping low elo definitely is true. Recently, Yi received some nice changes to his quality of life and were intended to push him into more viability and higher levels of play, as they were sorta compensation buffs for the hit to Rageblade. Since many ADCs were abusing it as well, now Master Yi sits comfortably at a very strong win rate, play rate, and ban rate in lower MMR. This champion has gone full wacko mode. The best bot lane duo you could currently play right now in low elo is Misfortune and Leona. When paired together, these two champions boast nearly a 60% win rate in bronze elo. The amount of CC, tied to how easy both champions are, makes them an unstoppable force. Leona into MF should be easy pickings for some free low. Amumu is a similar story. A couple of recent buffs that he received have now taken this champion into god tier status, and he's even seeing a bit more play in higher elo. He's definitely not a high elo troll pick anymore. He has been the low elo stomper and god of low elo for several years now, and he boasts the highest win rate overall in bronze elo. He actually has a couple of different build options as well, being either AP or tanky, and his objective control is also quite insane. If you go Liandry's Torment on this champion, he can secure Baron extremely easily, and you and a Vayne can duo it no problem. One thing that is interesting to look at is the champion main distribution on League of Graphs. This will tell you what the average rank is for each champion main. The lower the elo, the more likely it is for someone to main that champion in lower ranks. The lowest is Misfortune, followed by a couple of other easy champions. You can also see Yasuo on this list as well on the bottom part, but that also could just be because he's so dang popular anyway. At the opposite end of the spectrum, you have more skillful junglers, which don't surprise me at all. Ivern is a champion that really only does well in higher elo, because why would you be so worried about buffing up a bronze Caitlyn? What the heck is the point? However, your challenger Vayne, now that guy's gonna carry with enough shields on him. Unsurprisingly, the elo that has the most AFKs and leaves is exactly what you would expect. While I'm fully aware and understand that many people in this elo leave on purpose because they probably hate the game and are extremely toxic, I also know it's because you can't expect players in bronze and iron to have the brand new NASA supercomputer 5000 with Riot Games fiber optics. Players in this rank have really bad setups most of the time, and end up DCing and lagging so badly they have to leave the game and pull their hair out. The last champion I'd like to talk about for our video today is Pyke, actually, as I'm quite surprised at how well he does. Pyke is a champion that most people would consider relatively hard to play and master at first, but he has a very respectable win rate in this ELO. What could be pushing him over the edge is the amount of team fights that happen in this ELO, as his reset mechanic, much like Darius and Master Yi, allowed them to thrive in the chaos that is Dumpster Fire ELO. I think that the hook champions in general are also pretty powerful here too, but that's also a double-edged sword. What's more likely to happen? A Blitzcrank or a Pyke who are so bad they can't hit a hook, or an ADC who is so bad that they can't dodge a hook? If you would like me to make a similar video about high elo or even mid elo as well, let me know if you found this interesting in the comment section down below. One more time, seriously, don't sleep on ProGuides. Use the link in the description down below. You won't regret learning more about League with the amazing courses they have to offer. Anyway, thank you for watching.
Yeah.